Hi, this is Otis Taylor, and you're listening to Retrospectives with John Broughton on KC Radio 97.7 FM.
Rain and fire, across the ocean, another man, I'm stuck again.
Yeah.
Okay, just to start, I believe your parents were huge music fans. How much of a musical education did you receive at home growing up?
Well, it's not education, just blackly. Just played a lot of music. My father was heavy into jazz, so he played a lot of jazz records, you know. But they weren't into blues or country or, you know, folk music. They're just into jazz.
Right.
Basically, and some pop music.
So where did the introduction to those forms of music happen for you?
There was a store about 4 blocks away from where I lived called the Denver Folklore Center. It was a folk music school and store that sold guitars and repaired guitars and sold beads, and that's when I kind of got turned on to folk music.
Tell us about some of your early bands, and was there any connection in the music from those bands to the music that you're making these days?
Oh yeah, we used to play. The Folklore Center had a concert hall, and I was going through some old tapes, and I'd play songs for about 20 minutes, you know. And I was always thinking about sort of dark issues, you know.
Yeah. You did take an extensive break away from music and went into the field of antique dealing. Did you put the guitar away completely during that period of time?
No. See, people get confused. This was called music business and playing music. I've had a Pollard grand piano in my living room since 1973, you know. You know what I mean? I've always had a piano in my house, right?
Yep.
So, and banjos and guitars, but I would just wouldn't play in public.
Right. Was there any factor in particular that prompted you to give away the music business at that time? Did you lose confidence?
I just wasn't happy. I didn't get on with the band I was with. I thought, you know, I don't need to do this. So I just stopped. I didn't need to do it financially, so I just stopped. I don't know. It's just weird like that, you know. No regrets for stopping either, you know. I probably would have been divorced 4 times, so I would have stayed in the music business.
When you approached the music career second time around, was there anything in particular any way in particular you wanted to approach it differently from what you did the first time?
Well, I didn't know. I was sort of naive about it because I thought, oh, people just want to discover people, but it wasn't like that, you know. I had a hard time convincing people of what I was doing had a worth to it, you know.
Yeah.
People complained about no chord changes. They said my music was too dark. It wasn't like open hands, you know. So I finally maybe won the battle, but it was you had to fight hard.
Yeah. Talk about your songwriting. You're renowned as a great storyteller in song. There's a real great storytelling element to your work. How stringent for you is the editing process when you go through writing a song?
It's just like a dream. It's just a concept. That's why I don't have a lot of words. Once I get the concept, a couple lines, I'm finished. If you can tell the story with the least amount of words, that's a good way to tell the story. And then the people can use their imagination, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Do you tend to write songs from project to project, or do you always have some songs in storage that are awaiting the appropriate time or the appropriate project to put them on?
Well, yeah, some are in storage and some just come to me. They're always kind of like in storage. I got a thing as thick as a phone book of just lyrics, but, you know, they just come to me like dreams. I'm driving down the highway or whatever, you know. It's hard to explain. I'm in a semi-subconscious state. If I'm practicing or playing like instrument, then a song might come to me, you know.
Your output has been quite prolific since you came back to music as a career. Would you describe yourself as an artist that is always thinking ahead to the next project as soon as one is released?
I just finished recording another album that's going to come out. I got to mix in a couple of weeks, and I actually got meant to mix on the 10th of September, and it'll come out next either between February and April, you know. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that certainly does.
I think there'll be 13 songs. It's 14, but I think there'll be 13 songs on the album.
You're also not...
That's all I can tell you right now. I have to keep it secret, you know.
Fair enough. That's fine. You're not one to stick to set formulas in your music. You do like to push the boundaries, step outside the boundaries from what many would consider the norm. Are you constantly aware of not falling into, I guess, a musical rut?
Yeah, I don't want to do that. That's not who I am. I'm a blues artist, not a translator, not a traditionalist, you know. No, I'm not an interpreter. I'm a blues artist. I'm not an interpreter, you know. You see what I mean?
Yeah. For those who like to categorise music, you're a difficult artist to pigeonhole. Can it be a source of annoyance for you at times when you hear critics trying to label your style of music?
As long as they're talking about me, I'm happy, you know?
True. It's better than not being spoken about at all, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I call it trance blues, you know? It's more trance like my music, you know?
Yeah, I've heard that term used to describe your music. How would you describe trance blues to a complete novice who...
Well, like you take you know, like voodoo music, you know, voodoo music and
Yep.
Haitian. That's just drums, right?
Yep.
So you take a little voodoo music and a little Ravi Shankar, Appalachian, and some blues, and you got trance blues and jazz. You know, it's trance-like. You know, even if I do a chord change, it's like roll your boat gently down the street. You know, but it's like it goes on a loop. You know, either it goes if it's a chord change, the chords are in a loop.
Yep.
You know, so it gets more trance-like.
And it's nothing new, really. You could trace it right back.
Oh, no, Mali music, Ravi Shankar, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, like Indian music doesn't have any chord changes. We just think it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Most of it, you know. It's because they couldn't have a tambour playing if there was a chord change because they played the chord, you know.
Yep.
So, but it seems very complex, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does.
You don't miss the chord changes because those notes are coming at you so fast. You just trying to keep up, you know. So that's trance music too.
For sure. There's a real conceptual element to your albums. You feel
and hip hop is trance music. There's no chord changes hardly in hip hop. Very few.
Yeah, exactly. There's a real conceptual element to your releases. You feel like you're going on a journey from concept to concept. Do you get a little restless if you're staying in the one vibe for too long?
No, I just do whatever I feel like. Ask my band. There's no set list when I play. It's a big joke because somebody new in the band goes, "Can I get the set list?" Everybody starts laughing.
What set list?
The set list. Yeah.
Do you think that the uniqueness of your sound, that it distinguishes it so much from standard blues performers, is something that will stand you in good stead for continued longevity of your career? Is it you stand out from the crowd?
I hope so. But I probably won't be around to know that, you know. I'm trying to do that, but who knows, you know?
Yeah. Interested in your Blues in Schools program. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, basically, my wife thought about it because when my kids were in, you know, grade school and stuff, and she goes, "You need to go to the school and play for the, you know, for the classes." And so I just sort of got into this thing where kids can write the blues, that they can understand the slaves, you know, wrote songs in the fields from sadness. And then I figured if they could connect to it emotionally more than intellectually, they might remember it, you know.
Mm.
See, because all black band comes and plays, and they forget about it. But they wrote a song they might remember, you know. See, it might have a more emotional, especially if they write it. You see what I'm saying? They might remember it.
In general terms, it's a form of music that the kids wouldn't have a large exposure to. How have you found them responding to the music?
Well, they have fun because I just do a chord vamp and they read what makes them sad. And, you know, it's just, you know, they have fun. And some kids never get to perform or read anything in front of class, you know.
Yeah.
So some of the kids' first performance, especially if they do it on stage, you know.
Talk about your.
But I do it for colleges too and private schools. It isn't just kids. You know?
So it's all age groups. Yeah.
Because everybody's got the blues, you know, right? So you know.
That's right, from 8 to 80. Absolutely. Talk about your long-time producer Kenny Passarelli. When you stopped working with him,
it wasn't that long time. He just did 4 albums.
Yeah.
I'm coming out with my 12th album, so I think I've done more albums than he has. After we split, and I started producing my records. So I produced 8 records, and 5 of my records have been downbeat blues albums of the year. You know.
Yeah.
Choice for my records. So.
When you took on the production yourself, was there anything in particular that you wanted to do differently from how it was being done earlier?
Well, I guess so. I don't know. I guess so. I mean, but see, you know, I was a Sundance Fellow for the class of 2000 in film composing, so I kind of learned a lot of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
So when I got ready to do my first album, which won Downbeat Blues Album of the Year, Critics' Choice, you know, I had gone through a lot of eye-opening experiences at Sundance, you know, turned on to a lot of very interesting concepts.
Great to see that your daughter has been involved in your music too. It must be a wonderful feeling for you as a dad. And tell us about her growth as a musician.
Well, she's got her own band now called Otis Taylor's Soul Calvary. She's in her own. She hasn't played with me for about a year and a half, technically. I've been bass player. And no, I don't know. I don't think about it that much. She's on her own. She's 26 now. So we're into empty nest. You know what that is? Empty nest. We're trying to get the kids out of the house. We just got them out of the house officially, technically. She's getting married, so I think she's gone.
Yeah.
We'll see. But, she's just a really good musician, so I was just getting cheap labor.
Yeah.
That's what that was about. And then that way you help her pay for college and keep the money in the family instead of having to go outside the family.
For sure. Yeah. You've seen your music used in film and documentary soundtracks from time to time. Is that something you'd like to delve further into as time goes on?
I love that. Yeah. That's where I make most of my money. That's my bread and butter. Yeah. I like that. I love movies. Big movie freak,
Mm. When I
love it.
When you're writing songs about subjects that are very personal to you, have you found songwriting at times can be a very therapeutical experience by getting your feelings out there in that manner?
No, I'm not that deep.
No?
Just a thought comes, I write it down and sing it, and that's it,
Yeah.
I don't dwell on it. I'm not that deep. That's my wife. I'm not that deep. It's just, it surprises people. I'm not that depressing. I'm not that deep. I'm just good at being dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, sort of savant, I guess you might think.
Yeah. We've talked about how some people find your music hard to categorize. How have you found record companies' attitude towards your music? Have they had difficulties in marketing your work?
Well, I've only been with 2 record companies, so I can't tell you that. I mean, Northern Blues is we left more of a financial situation, and Telex has always just let me do my records and I hand them to them. I hand them the whole package. I take care of the artwork, the photography. So I'm like the art director and the producer.
Mm.
So I just hand them a package.
The Recapturing the Banjo album was an amazing piece of work and it garnered a lot of attention. What was your initial goal with that album? What did you want it to achieve?
Well, I wanted to have more tours, but I couldn't get it together. We did one tour. But I just wanted people to know that banjo came from Africa, and then black people do play the banjo, it's kind of, and we don't play it the same as the whites,
Mm.
It was probably the most historically important album I ever did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still, because of the movie, people still find out about it, because of 10 Million Slaves, but it's, I think that'll last a long time, that album.
Sure, it certainly will. For you, when did you personally first take on the banjo?
When I was 14 and a half.
14 and a half, wow.
Yeah, there's a picture of me if you go to my website, either under bios or pictures of me riding unicycle to high school,
Yep.
playing my banjo.
Ah, yes, I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's your history. That's why I put it on there. Not because I want people to know I rode a unicycle. I really want people to know that I played banjo, so it's a newspaper article, see,
Mm.
So,
So, Otis, for you, what are the best markets outside of the United States for you? Where are you attracting?
Europe,
yeah.
I try to come to Australia, but I've been to New Zealand, but they won't fly me. Every time they always ask this big Grim Bridge Festival, and I go, business class. Don't talk to me. So far, if I'm not flying, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm 64. I have a blood clot,
Yeah.
So until I can fly business, I guess I won't come to Australia. So I guess just my record ticket there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I have to take care of my body.
Sure.
You
And just before I let you go...
Not that I don't want to... I'd love to play for the Australians, but my body comes first.
Oh, look, we'd love to see you here. We've got a fantastic festival season in the first few months of every year, and you would fit in beautifully.
Well, no, if I get in front of people with our pedal player, if you go to YouTube, go to North Sea Jazz, people love us, It's just I have to... You can't... If you're not in front of them, you can't do anything.
That's right, yeah.
So, but it's, people can get two bands for what it costs to fly somebody business class,
That's correct, yeah.
So that's just the way it is, because I think it's just not a healthy thing. It's very long. And I flew first class to New Zealand and had a great time and did a lot of press for them, and I was happy to be there. But I flew first class,
Yeah.
Or business first class, what they call it, with the other beds, And until I can do that, I guess I can't come. As I get older, I'm going to be more persistent about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough too.
They probably could have got me like maybe in '95. They could have got me to play coach. I would have known better. But not now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But we'll
but
keep
if they figure out a way to transport me, like Star Trek or something, I'd like to leave that open too.
Oh, that would make life easier for everybody.
Yeah,
do that.
So if they come with that, I don't want to be closed-minded about this.
And apart from the new record that you've got there, what else is in your upcoming plans?
That's a lot of. I put a festival on too. You go to OtisTaylor.com or Trans Blues Festival.
Oh, the Trans Blues Festival, yeah.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, last year we had Tony Trista, George Porter Jr. from Funky Meters, Don Margolis, Mato from Indigenous, Don Dappy from New Orleans, and we had 130 people playing music at the same time.
Wonderful.
But oboe players and flute players and guitars and banjos, pianos. It wasn't just blues, people, drums,
And plans are in place already for the next one?
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, it's always the weekend of Thanksgiving weekend. It starts the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Tremendous.
We have just right now we have George Porter Jr. coming, Mato, Don Dappy, a guy named Michel Michel, a French jazz guitar player from France.
Fantastic.
He's going to be a student, so people, so I'd love to see somebody from Australia come. If you want to go skiing, you should tell all the ski people, species, get the word out there.
That would be fantastic.
They should advertise in Australian ski magazines.
Yeah, you should do.
So when they come to Colorado, they can bring their guitar,
And hopefully you won't have to fly them first class.
I'm not flying them. But people can come as participants.
Yeah.
That's the whole. It's for people. You don't have to be a good musician. It's just for somebody. There's no chord changes. It's for every level. It's not for just pros. It's for the beginners.
Yeah.
It's really for the beginners so they can play with the pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the participation element. Yeah.
But some people never have anybody to play with. They have a little how they play in their porch, but they never have a chance to play with anybody.
Yeah.
So when you play with 130 people, you feel like you can't do anything wrong. You feel good, like a whole orchestra.
Fantastic.
It's beautiful. People have really great experiences. They love it.
Sounds fantastic. Hey, Otis, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure catching up with you, and hopefully...
And please understand, I love to play in Australia. Don't think that I don't want to do it.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'll certainly put the word out there for you, and hopefully we can get something happening. It would be great to see you here.
Well, and if I die, then they just won't get to see it.
Well, that would be a shame.
Well, things happen like that. I haven't been to Japan either, so But I go to Europe. I'm going to do my. I'll do 7 tours of Europe this year. I'm going to be going my 5th tour.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Oh well, if we don't get to see you here, we've at least got that new record to look forward to.
Well, thank you for your support.
Thank you, Otis. All the best. Okay.
Take care, bye.
Bye.